In this episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief, I sit down with Justin to talk all about his new card game, Ignite. Then I'll tell you about a cool giveaway we're doing at thegiveawaygeek.com. Then we'll see what's on Kickstarter Corner, but first, a message about our sponsors. This episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is proudly powered by both Phase Shift Games and Thundergriff Games, who are bringing us a new game on Kickstarter called Dungeon Drop. More to be said during Kickstarter Corner, so stay tuned for that. But make sure to check out and back Dungeon Drop on Kickstarter before the 3rd of July. This episode is proudly powered by one of our Kickstarter backers, Redwell Games, and their latest game, Six Gun Showdown, the fastest playing, tension-filled game of Wild West shootouts for ages 9 years and older. That's on Kickstarter until Friday the 5th of July. More to come within our Kickstarter Corner portion of the show. This episode is powered by Gosh Darn Bubbles from Sandwich Bag Games, which is simple to learn and play, fast and fun. So much fun, in fact, that Michael Wright, who is an unfiltered gamer, went out and got a bubble machine. So run on over and check out their Kickstarter, which we'll have a link in the show notes, or just head on over to sandwichbaggames.com, look for an interview with them, and if you're listening after that, go back and listen. Plus, be on the lookout for a giveaway over at thegiveawaygeek.com. And if you want some super fast, simple fun, make sure you back Gosh Darn Bubbles on Kickstarter before Thursday, the 20th of June.
Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
Ignite, a game of crazy combos and epic explosions, and tonight we're lucky enough to have on the lead developer of this game. Is that right, Justin? Is that how you fall in line with Ignite?
Yeah, I'm the lead developer for Ignite. Correct.
Thank you so much for joining us on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. We really appreciate it, Justin.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No problem. Now, before we jump into everything about your game, let's rewind a little bit if we could. How did you get into playing tabletop board games, Justin?
I mean, I've been playing them, off and on as a kid. I got back into them, actually. I was hanging out. I was volunteering at my local middle school for a while, and the kids were mostly just sitting on their phones and stuff like that, and I was already kind of into board games. And then so one day I showed up with a pile of, 4 or 5 really portable games like Coup, Love Letter, Exploding Kittens, One Night Ultimate Werewolf, and I showed up with a few of these games, and at first the kids were like, I guess. And then I brought one of them out, and then 3 or 4 of the kids were like, okay, sure, I'll play. And they were just really into it. And then all the kids kept flocking to the games. And then the next few days I'd show up, and then they just flocked right to me. And then we just started playing these games. We played games basically the entire time. So I just kept playing games with them, and it was just really fun. And I got more and more into tabletop games, collected some more, brought them there.
Awesome. And what are you playing these days?
Recently I've played some Takenoko and then some Gearworks. They're some of the medium-sized games because I've had some friends over. We've been hanging out for summer break. So aside from working on Ignite, which has been most of what we've been doing, but we did get to play, I think, like 2 or 3 games of Gearworks, which is pretty fun. Some other games.
Awesome. I had never played that one. What's Gearworks all about?
It's actually also a mechanically themed game from Kickstarter, but the way Gearworks works is there's a field of play. I think it's 5x4. So it's an area where you can play cards, and each one lines up with a certain letter or number. And if you have control of that section of the board, then you flip over, you basically turn a gear which says that you have control of it. And at the end of the round, then you get whichever parts you have control of. And you use those parts to build contraptions. There are contraption cards. And then there's each contraption has 2 different parts. So let's say there's part A and part 3. And so your contraption can be fully assembled if you have both parts or partially assembled, and you get points for each one. and then you have 3 rounds, and it's scored at the end.
Oh, okay, that sounds pretty cool. I want to say I heard or saw that one when it was on Kickstarter. So have you been following Kickstarter for a while then?
Yeah, I've been more so interested in Kickstarter when I started getting more into board games about maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, I've always played them for a while, but I wasn't really as much of a passion of mine per se. I was more into like card games, like trading card games and collectible card games. But I've gotten more into board games recently, and then one of my favorites also is probably Binding of Isaac, as I got that one on Kickstarter. Very happy with that one.
Yeah, so that's cool. So we have following Kickstarter, and I guess the natural scheme of things or whatnot would be to launch a game to Kickstarter. What can you tell us about Ignite, a game of crazy combos and epic explosions, Justin?
So what we wanted to do with Ignite was to create a game that's the same genre as trading or collectible card games, but we wanted to get rid of all the steep barriers to entry with that genre. So in most of those games, in either trading or collectible card games, and there's hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of cards, and you have to know a lot of the cards, and you have to know there's different abilities, and it's just for a new player. Plus, not just the time, but all of the money, and then there's an aftermarket, and you have to gamble on booster packs. You have to build your own deck, and then there's new cards that come out. There's still hundreds of new cards every few months, and it's very intimidating for new players. So I enjoy these games, and a lot of my friends do too. But if we were to just show up to a party or something and say, hey, you want to play one of these games, it's too steep of a curve. Then there's too much. But the genre is so fun, so we're basically trying to bring that genre to more casual gamers.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Like I want to say, you're trying to get rid of the barriers and everything. That's pretty cool because, like, my friends, they started getting into magic. They got into magic, and as soon as when I was back in high school, as soon as I had money to get in with them, they were done playing. So I kind of missed that boat. But that's kind of cool to get rid of those barriers.
Yeah, several of us on the team, including me, are really into Magic, but it can be prohibitively expensive. I mean, even people say the standard format's really cheap, but then it's still every 2 years, then it rotates, and the best decks are still hundreds of dollars, and you include the price of lands, and they keep saying, oh, we're not going to print expensive lands, and they keep printing more lands, and there's now they have all these Teferis in standard, the bajillion dollars, and it just sounds like a whole mess to me. So
Oh, but I guess that's how they get you.
it's a fun game, but it's not very nice on new players. It's not very nice on new players. So we're trying to create one in the game in the genre where you can pay $20 once and you get everything you need in the box. You can start playing in just 3 minutes, or you can watch a video from the rules girl. It's 2.5 minutes long. If you go to rules.ignite.cards, it'll pop up with a YouTube video, and then 2.5 minutes you can learn how to play everything you need to know.
Well, that's pretty cool. Awesome. So they haven't got to watch the video yet. Per se, me and you sat down to play Ignite. What's my turn going to look like, Justin?
Well, so your turn, you're going to have some cards in your hand, and then you're going to have a lineup. And if it's your first turn, then your lineup's empty. Your lineup is like your battlefield, so it's where your summoned minions go. So you have 4 energy each turn that you can spend on minions. The entire deck is minions. It's a 30-card deck called a Forge, and your Forge is full of minions. Each turn you have 4 energy you can spend on minions, so minions cost 1 to 4 energy. And you can also spend 1 energy to draw a card from your Forge, and you can repeat that as much as you'd like. So there are 2 parts of your turn. There's attacking and then building. So during attacking, you can choose which of your minions to attack, and then against which target. So you can either attack somebody else's opposing minions or their Forge. And then during building, then you can either summon minions for energy or spend energy to draw cards. And you can do both and do them interchangeably.
Okay, and how do I go about winning? Am I trying to take out the other person's minions, or?
Yeah, so the goal of the game is to destroy your opponent's Forge. And their Forge is their deck. When their Forge takes damage, then you remove that many cards. So if my Forge were to take 3 damage, I'd remove 3 of my cards and put them into my scrap heap. And your scrap heap is where your destroyed minions go. And so if my Forge runs out of cards and takes damage, then it's destroyed and I lose.
And I imagine, is there cards that can help me get my scrapped cards back into my deck?
There is 1 card. He won't get you a lot of cards back, but his name is Scrapbot, and he only costs 1, and he gets you 1 card from your scrap heap on top of your Forge. So it's less of a healing effect, and it's more of a get something back from your graveyard effect, because then you can spend 1 energy to draw it, and then you can play it. Or you can risk leaving it on top, and if your Forge takes damage, then you're out of luck.
Okay, awesome. Now, during playtesting this game, Justin, was there ever anything you guys had to scrap because it just wouldn't work for the game?
Yeah, so we actually have a funny story I've told a few times. In the beginning of the game, so first let me briefly explain that now in the game there are 4 slots on your lineup, which is 4 areas you can summon minions to. And then the way that attacking works is slot 1 is your Forge Guardian. So that minion must be attacked and destroyed before anything else can be attacked. So if you are attacking me, then you have to attack my Forge Guardian. And once my Forge Guardian's destroyed, then you can attack any of my other minions on other slots, or you can attack my Forge. And the way that igniting works is, just to explain this very briefly, is when your bot ignites, you roll the 2 ignite dice. They're both d6, and one has the size of an explosion, and then one determines which target you hit. So the target die has 4 different slot numbers for slots 1 through 4, and then 2 forge icons where you can hit your opponent's forge. And the explosion is small, medium, and large flames, which correspond to the ignite values, which are values under the flames of the bot that ignites. But anyway, in the original iteration of the game, day 1, I thought of the idea and then we wrote it down, and then day 1 of the game, it had 5 slots and no Forge Guardian. And so we played it, and it was a really fun game at its core, but the problem was that there were a few problems. There was one problem, which was that Forge, is that your ignites always missed because there was less of a chance of hitting Forge, and there were more minion slots, etc. Another problem was that when you hit Forge, it felt more just random than anything. It didn't really feel fun because it was just random, like 1 and 6. It wasn't really consistent. And then the last problem was that there was no Guardian, so you can just attack any of your opponent's, combo pieces, and then they would just be destroyed. So there's way less strategy. And then so Bobby had the idea where we just get rid of slot 5, and then he just drew the shield icon on slot 1, and he said, all right, this is the Guardian. You've got to kill this one first. And then we said, okay, let's try it out. We tried it out, and it was so improved. It was so much better. So we actually ended up keeping that design decision throughout the entire duration of the game. We never once changed the Guardian nor the revised ignite mechanic.
Okay, that's awesome that you're able to get that to work a little bit smoother. So that's pretty cool. Now, before we were talking, we can cut this out if we need to, but before we started recording, we were talking about you going to play the game with some people, with some designers, and with another game company that publishes games. You want to share that story with us on the podcast?
So our story actually begins over spring break. I went with my girlfriend to WonderCon, and we had a lot of fun. We went to a bunch of different exhibits and stuff, and we went to a lot of board game panels. And there was this one guy who was in most of the panels, and he didn't talk a whole lot, but he was really nice, and he was actually talking about the reason why I kind of staked him out afterwards and wanted to talk to him for a bit is he was talking about that he knew somebody from Renegade Studios, which is a small publishing company in San Diego. And we were looking to get published, and we're in San Diego. And so I was like, sure, I want to talk to him afterwards and see about that. And we ended up talking for a lot of time, and he gave me a whole bunch of awesome advice on Ignite. And I feel bad because I talked to Zeroff, but he was very willing to listen to it and very interested. And then he said I can message him over Facebook. So later on, I ended up messaging him over Facebook a few times, and he was very responsive and very helpful. And then one day, a few weeks later, then he messaged me and he said, hey, would you like to come over to the op? And I said, oh, yeah, of course, I'd love to. So we figured out a time, and I got 2 of the other people on the Ignite team also went with me. So the 3 of us went over to the op. And so basically what it was is that they play tested the game and then gave us some feedback. So we brought enough content so that 5 players could play the game. And then so 5 of them sat down and they were like, okay, we're ready to learn. So we showed them how to play over the course of 4 or 5 minutes, and then they started playing, and they just seemed really into it. And there was some clarifications to be made, and we went over some stuff, but they overall seemed really into it. And then there was this one guy there, and I remember because he was super critical of everything, which is good because that's what you need criticism. You need to hear what needs to be improved, not it's good. But he was very critical of everything. And then at the end, then he said, I may have come off as really critical, but this is one of the most fun games I've played in the past 2 or 3 weeks. So this is really awesome, actually. And I was just blown away because all of them liked it, and then even he said that. So it was overall a really positive experience. And then we got a picture with them, got a picture op at the op, and it was just a fun time. We also got to tour the op, and it was really cool. And I can't say any top secret things that are going on there, but it's a really cool place. Just trust me on that.
Awesome. Yeah, I guess we'll have to take your word for it. That's pretty cool that you were able to do that and get some advice from them. So that's awesome. Now, when it comes to Ignite, what makes your game pop is when my audience should go check out the Kickstarter, and if they like what they see, back it today, Justin.
Well, the main thing that makes Ignite pop is Ignite. So the ignite mechanic, um, your forge is filled with minions, and most of them are bot minions. And what bots do is they have the ignite ability. And so when they ignite, then you roll the 2 ignite dice. And if you want to try it out, you can go to roll.ignite.cards, and it'll take you to our dice roller. And so ignite does has a random explosion that occurs somewhere on the board. So it's kind of chaotic and fun, but then there's still strategy in controlling the randomness. But the way that ignite works is there's an explosion die and a target die. So every bot card has 3 ignite values on it. They have 3 values in these flaming stones. There's a small, medium, and large flaming stone, and then underneath each of those flaming stones, then there's a number. Let's say 3, 4, 5, which means that when that bot ignites, it does 3 to 5 damage. So the explosion die will have a small, medium, or large flame icon on it, and that'll correspond to the bot's ignite values, and that'll determine how much damage it deals. And then the target die will determine which target it hits. So you can hit your opponent's lineup for slots 1 through 4, which there's 4 slots on the lineup, or you have a 1 in 3 chance of hitting your opponent's forge, which is hitting their deck directly or hitting their life total. So it plays more or less like a normal card game. The rules are a lot more cleaned up. We have a few other interesting rules. We have a barrier rule, and I can go into some other stuff, but I think by far the most exciting part of it is the ignite mechanic. And although it might sound like, oh, well, that's just random, but we have things in there where you double your ignites, or you choose where they hit, or you ignite all of your bots, and we really made it not just revolving around that mechanic, but you're choosing when and where and how to ignite. So you don't want to ignite, when your opponent has less things on board, but also when they have less powerful things on board. Or you want to be careful in which order you play things, because your ignite could hit their ignite, which could hit your thing, and you want to choose, when things are exploding. So you're trying to control the randomness, and then there's a lot of tension in the game, and you're trying to figure out, oh boy, what's the best play, and you roll the dice, and it's just, let's see what happens. So there's definitely a lot of skill in the game. You wouldn't think there would be at first, but it's a really fun game overall. The ignite mechanic is definitely the main part of ignite.
Well, that sounds pretty cool, and we'll go ahead and make sure we leave links in the show notes so they can just click on over and check it out there on the Kickstarter page. So that's awesome. Now, quick question for you, Justin. Why 60-day campaign?
So we've seen the statistics that 30-day campaigns are more successful. Basically, I figured the pros and cons were, well, cons of 60 days is that they have to wait a little bit longer, right? And then maybe it could be, the popularity could die out a little bit or something. But then the pros are we have twice as much time to raise money. And I'm aware most of the money gets raised within, the first week or two. But we really, really wanted to make sure that this thing gets funded, because this is like all of our dreams is to release a board game. We've worked on this thing really hard for a long time. So we wanted to go with the safer bet. It's, 60 days is statistically the best for board games, but we don't know if that's, correlation or causation. So we thought about it for a while. We discussed it, and we think 60 days was the way to go.
Okay, awesome. Well, you got to start somewhere, so that's good that you're able to do that, and great justification so people can know why you did that, because a lot of times we see Kickstarters going about the 30 days or even less than that. But that's awesome, so they can know why you're doing that. So, minus coming there to your hometown to stalk you, Justin, how can people go about keeping up with you or what you guys are doing over there with Ignite and everything else?
Yeah, so we've got social medias, which if you go to our website, ignite.cards, then you can find all of our social media there. And so we have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So our Facebook is just Ignite Card, and then our Twitter and Instagram are Ignite Cards.
Okay, and we'll leave the links in the show notes so they can find you either. So that's awesome. Wow, that was awesome talking to Justin all about Ignite. I can't wait to play the game. Plus, you know what? Hopefully he'll be able to do a live playthrough for us on the Unfiltered Gamer, who's one of my favorite YouTubers. But first, if you're still with us, and I hope you are, thanks for being so patient. You know what? For your patience,
Dogs of the Galaxy 140 gift card.
Not 140 gift card. They're giving them a $100 gift card to one lucky winner. Am I right?
I thought it was 100.
Yeah, it is 100, but you said like 140. Bad Arena Leaf was so excited she forgot to tell you that gift card will be for Amazon. It's only like 2 or 3 days. Well, yeah, it ends the 20th, so head on over to the Giveaway Geek and check it out now. Now, where are we going, Bad Arena Leaf?
Kickstarter corner!
He stood squinting in the noonday sun, the braggart youth in front of him with something to prove. Hey, old-timer, how long has your pine box queen measured up for? Came the shrill voice from down the road, the ineffective taunt barely covering the shake in the kid's voice. Longer than you've been breathing, child, came his gruff reply. Jones noticed the kid twitch and reached for his rusty shooting iron. Did that sound familiar to you? Don't worry, we're here so it will. It's part of the story of Six Gun Showdown. Six Gun Showdown is a quick 5 to 10 minute game where players are characters in a Wild West shootout. The game combines strategy, memory, and a dexterity element, like a quick draw that serves to generate tension and guides the players to read their opponent's actions, really immersing them into the feeling of being in a shootout. Designed as a small box game that is as quick to learn as it is to play, Six Gun Showdown can be enjoyed as part of a board game night, either as a quick game between other games or run as a small tournament of linked games. Players can choose one of 6 characters that each have their own deck of cards and unique dice that require different strategies to be successful. This gives Six Gun Showdown layers of tactical depth that will have you playing the game again and again. Go back the quick draw card game for those with nerves of steel, Six Gun Showdown, before Friday the 5th of July, and make sure you're subscribed to Getting Geeky with Game Relief so you don't miss my sit down with the mastermind of this game when we have our showdown episode. I'm a huge fan of Scooby-Doo, so this game greatly reminds me of such. As you might know, escape rooms are all the rage, but someone is taking it to the next level. During a quiet stroll through the park one peaceful evening, you're attacked from behind and knocked unconscious. You wake up blindfolded. You remove the strip of cloth from your eyes and find yourself in the middle of a forest. Directly in front of you, under the moonlight, stands a weathered, hand-painted wooden sign that reads, Camp Hackaway. Next to you is a flashlight with a note attached. Welcome to Body Count. Terror at Camp Hackaway board game, which is a horror-themed board game for 2 to 4 players. Try to be the first to escape Camp Hackaway. It includes a Kickstarter exclusive expansion pack. Body Count Terror at Camp Hackaway is the first chapter in the Body Count series of horror-themed board games from Game Master J. In this chapter, you've been kidnapped and wake up in the outskirts of Camp Hackaway and must survive the night while searching for the one item that will allow you to escape. Meanwhile, crazed serial killer Hackin' Hank stalks the campground, eliminating players one by one. Will you survive? Find out by backing Body Count Terror at Camp Hackaway board game before Thursday, the 4th of July. Have you been preparing for the zombie apocalypse? You might be just about ready for it, but are you ready for the final minutes of said apocalypse? I didn't think so. Then you're going to need this new game, Final Minutes, the Zombie Apocalypse, which is a board game that puts your survival instincts to the test. If you like gaming and you like a challenge where skill and chance are both involved, then you will like this game. If you are also one of those select few who doesn't want to be eaten by the zombies, then Final Minutes, the Zombie Apocalypse, is definitely for you. Don't be like those people in the Midwest when a storm is scheduled to come to town that are scouring the grocery store for everything they need to get through the storm, because when the zombies come, the weather guy isn't going to be forecasting such things. So head on over to Kickstarter and back Final Minutes, the Zombie Apocalypse today, because I really don't want them to eat your brains.
If I were a zombie, I'd never eat your brain. I just want your heart, yeah, I don't want your heart, I just want your heart, yeah. Oh, if I were a zombie, I'd never eat your brain. I just want your heart, yeah, I don't want your heart, I just want your heart, 'cause I want you.
Or I guess in that instance, we could save your heart. Either way, don't miss out and back Final Minutes, the Zombie Apocalypse today. I'm going to have John the creator on the show, so make sure you tune in or come back and listen to my Final Minutes episode to save your brain or heart, as Stephanie Maybe so eloquently puts it in that rendition of the zombie song. The Qualic Report. Time is running out. The constant centuries of war and pollution have taken their toll on our home of Anthobray. Your people are counting on you to save them. Gather the resources you need, build your ship, and escape before it's too late. Only one civilization will survive, and the clock is ticking. Did that sound familiar, you guys? It didn't to me either, but this is a story of last days of Athelbray. Apocalypse. It's a strategy, resource gathering game where the planet falls to pieces beneath your feet, and the first to build a ship and escape wins. Had some tech issues with them, in which we're working to resolve, so you can enjoy my interview with the creators. It takes what we love from No Escape the game and adds some more depth to it, in my opinion. Last Days of Anthobray brings together a myriad of familiar mechanics that collate into an exciting and unique gaming experience. With a modular board and 5 different civilizations to pick from, no game is ever the same. The game starts with a slow burn to help prepare your civilization for the perils ahead. Throughout the game, tiles are flipped and removed as Athelbray literally crumbles beneath your feet. Every 5 rounds, the danger increases as the world falls apart faster and faster, and the odds of tragedy befalling your scouts grows ever more likely. For 2 to 5 players ages 12 and up, 30 to 45 minutes per player. Be on the lookout over at thegiveawaygeek.com, as well as these show notes once it's up, for a giveaway they're running with us, and back the game. Last Days of Athelbray Apocalypse before the 29th of June, so you can be the first one off the planet of Athelbray once the apocalypse is going on. Have you seen Sprocket, the game that just launched a Kickstarter? It looks awesome. You each get a card from a different level and build the object it asks you to. The first one who builds it in complete form and dings the bell proceeds to the next round or next level, and they'll get a harder card. It reminds me of Ubongo that we played in game group, except the pieces are 3D, and play gets harder the further you proceed. Their Kickstarter video shows and tells you exactly how to play. It looks pretty fun. Plus, we're teaming up with them to do a giveaway over on thegiveawaygeek.com. Plus, we'll be doing an interview with them as well. So, in the meantime, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast so you don't miss that show. And also, in the meantime, go watch our video and check out the game and back Sprocket, the game, before Tuesday the 9th of July. From proud backers of our Kickstarter campaign, Casual Game Revolution, the Casual Game Insider magazine will be returning to Kickstarter for its 8th year on June 25th. For only 2 weeks, you can get great deals on annual and lifetime subscriptions, back issues, and advertising. They will also be announcing a new feature that you won't want to miss. Casual Game Insider has been receiving high praise from gaming media since the first issue in 2012. It has been called the best board gaming magazine on the market by several reviewers, a magazine that is serious about quality, by Purple Pawn, and a great resource and fun read by the Spiel podcast. Bezier Games has praised its super accessible format that's both welcoming and engaging. And Ultra Pro says the paper quality and production quality are just flat out better than most publications in tabletop. Find out what all the hype is about at casualgamerevolution.com/Kickstarter. We teased about this during our sponsor spots, so here you go. Both Thundergriff Games and Phase Shift Games are running a very successful Kickstarter campaign for the new game Dungeon Drop. Dungeon Drop is an instant dungeon, infinite possibilities, a delightful dungeon crawler for 2 to 4 players. Gather your gear and prepare to dive into the labyrinth. Teeming with untold treasure, the tunnels are said to be inhabited by unusual creatures, both adorable and terrible. Keep your wits about you as the very walls shift into the torchlight. It's time to drop into the dungeon. It's the dungeon crawl that you won't need an actual board for your game. Go check out Dungeon Drop's Kickstarter now. Hopefully, we'll get Jason on the show to talk all about it. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our Dungeon Drop episode. And either way, make sure to check out Dungeon Drop and back it before the 3rd of July. If you liked any of the games we talked about in today's episode, make sure you check out their Kickstarter campaigns to show them and us a little love. Backing them goes a long way. Plus, make sure to stay up to date on all the giveaways we're doing over at thegiveawaygeek.com. There will be at least 2 to 3 new giveaways going live over there next week. It's our least favorite time as well as yours. So until next episode, make sure you go ahead and get geeky, stay geeky, and bring others in the geek fold by sharing our episodes with others, as well as keeping up with the giveaways we're doing over at thegiveawaygeek.com. Gamer Leaf out.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.